I'm going to share with you an article from a Chinese speaker in China talking about exactly why legacy auto are basically dying in China. And I'm serious. Why are they dying? Well, electric cars are surging in China. ICE vehicle sales are decreasing every single month. And guess what? BMW, Audi, Mercedes, all the premium brands and other legacy auto manufacturers, their sales of electric vehicles are minuscule in comparison to the Chinese electric car players. And obviously, if electric cars are the future, and legacy automakers, in particular premium legacy automakers, are not selling electric cars in China, or barely any of them right now, then what does that mean for their future in the world's largest auto market? It means they're in trouble. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. Great to have you here on the channel. Welcome to all the new subscribers, and welcome back to everyone else. Big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Really appreciate what you do. Makes this channel possible. And honestly, even just a little contribution goes a long way because it all adds up. The more people that contribute, I can make 5-6 videos a day. And I want to add that. I want to increase that to more to 8. We need to get the word out to more people. We need more people to understand what's happening. We need more people to understand that electric cars are the future. That if they buy a gasmobile, they're losing money. They're throwing money away. Not only are they just, pointlessly polluting the environment when they don't have to, but they're just literally putting themselves in a position where they've bought what they think is an asset, which is going to rapidly decline in value. So Carnewschina reports that, according to the data of the CPCA, or the Chinese Passenger Car Association, in November, the Wuling Hongwan Mini EV achieved the top-selling vehicle in the global EV market for 15 consecutive months, with a volume of 45,576 sales in that single month alone. BYD continued to rank first among global EV companies with 90,142 units sold. NIO, XPeng, Li Auto, and Neta all sold more than 10,000 units in a single month. But I'll add to that, you got Leap Motor, who sold 8,000. Then you got WM Motor, who sold 5,100. BAIC Blue Park, who sold 4,200. Then you got ArcFox, who sold 1,200. Then you got Hi-Fi, who make $100,000 plus super premium electric cars. They beat out Porsche, Audi, and every other premium brand in the world to become the top selling luxury electric vehicle in China. And they have been for 6 months in a row. Then what about Aura? Aura sold 21,000 electric cars in December. What about Aeon, the electric sub-brand of GAC? They sold 16,700 EVs in December. What about Zeekr, the new sub-brand for Geely? They sold 4,000. That's ignoring their sales for Volvo and Polestar, who are both owned by Geely as well. Then you got Chongqing SoCon, who are Huawei's electric car brand. They sold 4,600. The Wuling Hongwan Mini EV plus its sister EV cars, they sold 60,000 in December. What about Tesla? Tesla sold 70,847 vehicles in China in December. On the other hand, BMW, they sold less than 2,000 BMW and Mini branded electric vehicles in December. However, it's even worse if you look at BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi. Their EV sales have done nothing at all. Both in international and Chinese markets, they're really not doing that well in comparison to Tesla. The Mercedes-Benz EQC sold only 4,863 units in China in the first 10 months of going on sale, while the BMW iX3 sold 16,157 units during that period of time, and the e-tron sold 1,377. Even if you add up these three global company sales together, they all sold still a lot less than BYD did as one standalone company. Now, clearly, these companies were once dominant players, or still are, to some degree, dominant players in the ICE market in China. So why are they doing so poorly when it comes to EVs in China? Well, the author of this article says that firstly, he thinks it has a lot to do with Mercedes, BMW, and Audi missing the best time. Now, apparently this group all attempted to lead in EVs in China at some point or other. For example, in 2014, BMW launched its first mass-produced EV, the i3. However, because he says they use batteries without enough power and similar looks to other, or weird looks compared to other cars, and a high selling price for what you actually got. This led to their products not being popular in China at all. Now, the author then goes on to say that Tesla has taken the lead in the Chinese EV market by relying on its brand as a global electric car leader, its user experience, its customized batteries, and its charging infrastructure. They then say that then many EV automakers such as XPeng, NIO, Li Auto, and a large number of other EV companies emerged. And it was at this point, he says, that users were beginning to form a new perception and consumption habit of EVs. Now, I'm sorry, I'm not translating this perfectly because some of it is, I'm having to kind of work out what they're saying while I'm going along. Now, he says that EV companies are focusing on rapid technology iteration, even if the technology is not mature, and then continuously upgrading and optimizing it through over-the-air updates. However, he claims legacy auto are not doing that. Now, interestingly, that's something that Ford actually mentioned themselves. So did Volkswagen. They both those companies mentioned that. I made a video, I think yesterday, talking about how Ford are trying now to copy Tesla's way of doing it that way, and so are Volkswagen as well. Now, this Chinese journalist also says that he believes Audi, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi can be condescending towards customers compared to Tesla's directly operated shops, and that's the experience of many other Chinese buyers. Those who can't afford Mercedes, BMW, and Audi don't mind the high price. They are more concerned about the product experience and the service they get. And he goes on to say that he thinks Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and BMW need to pay more attention to the personal preference of EV users. Data from the CAEM, China Association of Automobile Manufacturers, shows that in 2021, China's new energy passenger vehicle sales were 3.34 million units. That's an increase of 167% year on year, with market share reaching 13.4%, which is expected to be 20% this year. It was already 20% in November and December of last year, 20% in January of this year, and that figure could increase this year, potentially even to 30%. So the importance of the Chinese EV market to legacy auto and to these premium brands is very clear. For Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and BMW to remain a premium brand, they need to develop more connected cars that come with the level of technology we're seeing now in these new Chinese EVs. And honestly, a lot of Chinese buyers, they're not stupid. They actually are comparing like for like and seeing that these newer cars from legacy auto are not coming with the same number of features, the same level of computing power as some of these Chinese EVs come with. Now, the author concludes by saying that he thinks if Mercedes-Benz, Audi, and BMW put more effort into developing better EV products, not just relying on their brand to some extent, is what they need to do. But he also says that they're going to cannibalize their own sales, and competing with other rivals while fighting with yourself is not easy. That's a good point. Is that something that potentially legacy auto are concerned about right now, cannibalizing their own sales? I think it is. I think it's something that Toyota is very concerned about. I think it's something that many companies, legacy auto companies, are very concerned about. Do we go and produce these new EVs and then basically just compete with ourselves rather than selling a petrol-powered BMW 3 Series? We then sell an electric-powered 3 Series, costs us more to make in the short term, not in the long term, but in the short term, and then we're basically eating into our own profits in the short term. How long can we do that for? That's a good question. And that all ties back into this concept of having stranded assets, of having to transition your company from being analog to being digital. That's not easy. It's really actually quite difficult to do. But think about it, there's a lot involved here. Not only production lines, what about staff? What about retraining staff? What about retraining the mentality of your organization to think more like a new modern technology company? That's a very different mindset. This all comes down to what I believe will happen. Ultimately, I think that right now, premium legacy automakers don't really have any differentiating advantage versus Chinese EVs. They don't. If you can tell me what they are, other than their so-called branding, then I would love to know, because realistically, even the brand is losing its luster in China. When customers have been surveyed in China, asked which brands they see as the most premium, Many of them now are not saying BMW anymore, or Audi anymore, or Mercedes. They're saying Neo. And when they're asked what cars they want, do they want petrol-powered cars, gas-powered cars, or do they want electric? They're saying electric. So that, my friends, is the future of the Chinese auto market. And frankly, legacy auto are getting left behind in China. Thanks for watching the channel, and I'll see you again on the next one.